Two re-signings on the Friday morning. Let's talk about it. Now, you're going to have to excuse the mess. I've just moved into my new house, but these re-signings happened, so I had to make a video because these are two players that are just our future. Now we're starting to sign up our future. So Harvey Harrison signs until at least 2027, so he extends his contract, and Harry DeMattia extends his contract until at least 2027 as well. Now, this is really important that we start getting these younger guys signed up because we have over a dozen and a half players uncontracted at the end of 2025. Now, there are some big names, and you'll see those names pop up over here as well. There are big names, right? And there are players that most likely will retire, so we know that. We won't get into that in that video. What I want to talk about in this video, though, is Harvey Harrison and Harry DeMattia and how important they are to the team. Now, these re-signings kind of take me back to when we re-signed or we extended Ed Allen's contract before he even played a game, and that was a couple of years ago. Now, I know there's all of this talk and you know, what is it, hoo-ha about Collingwood under 25, they've got really no one and stuff, and I think that's just absolute bullshit. We've got such good talent. Look, we might not have elite talent like Richmond do now, or you know, like the Giants or Essendon or Carlton. You know, some of these teams that, you know, tried to get into the draft and got into the draft, and, you know, Richmond got 20 first-round draft picks or whatever the hell it was, right? So yes, I understand that we don't have that quote-unquote elite talent or the round, you know, the picks 1 to 5 or anything like that, but I feel like you don't really need that, right? Because you look at Dane Swan, pick 56, Brownlow medalist, premiership player. You know, or Gary Ablett, I know Junior, I know he was a father and son, but he went really late. So all of these sort of players, you can find diamonds in the rough. Look at Bo McCreary, he's a premiership player, and he went late 40s, if memory serves me correctly. So look, get rid of that notion. We have a raft of players under 25, under 23, that are just going to blow their house down. Now, Harvey Harrison did his ACL last season, unfortunately, so we won't see him back for a while. But this just shows how much confidence they have in him to come back and hit the game really hard as that sort of smallish forward. Could be that Jamie Elliott successor that we sort of are looking out for now that Joe Richards isn't there. Has played 16 games, has kicked a bunch of goals as well. And last season was his breakout year. And it's just such a shame that he got injured, because that was the guy that I thought was going to really cement his place in the side this season. And 14 weeks post-op, he's done his lateral movement, he's running, he's looking really good. Obviously not ball in hand sort of stuff just yet, but he's in a really good position to attack his rehab really hard and come back at a reasonable time. Like you look at Dan McStay, Sam Doherty, you know, Tyson Goldsack, these players that have done their ACL and come back a little bit earlier than expected. I know he's young, so they're probably not going to push him super hard. But he's also young, so he could be pushed super hard because he has that body that can sort of, you know, regenerate. He's got that Wolverine healing power. So it will be good to see him maybe halfway, a little bit later on in the season, because he was just an absolute excitement machine. What I love about Harvey Harrison is that puts his body on the line, can take a good mark, and can kick a goal when we need to. He's popped up a few times to kick important clutch goals last season, and I just need to see more of that, and we will see more of that. It will be towards the end of next season. But what I like about getting signed up until 2027, and Harry DeMattia as well, is that 2026 and 2027 is where these kids are going to make their money, right? We know by 2027, there's going to be no players over 32 that are playing right now, right? So Pendle, Sidebottom, Jeremy Howe, Mason Cox, Jamie Elliott, Jack Crisp, maybe Darcy Cameron, Will Hoskin-Elliott, you know, the list goes on and on. Though they're not going to be playing by 2027 or 2026, 2027 definitely not. 2026, most of them are going to go, right? So this is when we need these young kids to step up. And, you know, Craig Kelly came out and said that, you know, we need to give the likes of, you know, the Ed Allens of the world an opportunity to just go. And next year, 2025, is going to be the baton passing year. And by that, I mean, the senior guys are going to start passing the baton to Ed Allen, to Harry DeMattia, to, you know, TJ, to these players that, if they're, like I said in my previous video, if they're good to go, if they're getting good VFL numbers, but they're pushing for a senior selection during training, and still Cyber's not having a good game, and fucking Pendlebury's not having a good game. These are the kids that are going to play because 2025, let me tell you, I've got this funny feeling in my stomach. 2025, one, it's reminiscent in my stomach from the start of 2023, but it's also giving me 2010 vibes. Now, I'm not saying, look, we're going to win the premiership, right? But when I say 2010 vibes, I mean, we pass the baton from the older guys to the younger guys, and we go on and win a premiership. So that's the sort of vibe that I'm getting. The other guy that we re-signed and extended until 2027 is Harry DeMattia. Now, Harry, we haven't seen a lot of him. He was injured for most of last season, especially last preseason, which was a shame because he came highly touted. He was our first draft pick in that 2023 draft. So we didn't see a lot of him. He couldn't really get going. He did get going towards the end of the year. But from the training that I've seen, this kid is ready to hit it really, really hard in the VFL next season. Remember, he was a captain at the Dandenong Stingrays, comes from that cricketing background, so he has that elite sports knowledge and that backing. And from what I've seen, like I said, in training, he's done super, super well. Maybe he needs to be, get a little bit more of an engine on him, and if he wants to, because he wants to play in that wing position, because, they're saying, possibly he could play as a half-back flanker. We've got too many half-back flankers, right? If there's one thing that Derek Hine loved was a half-back flanker, we got too many of them, okay? And Joel Cochran's our next half-back flanker. Let me tell you, this kid is going to be absolutely special, and he's going to be that guy. Harry DeMattia, maybe a little bit in the midfield, but I think the wing, that's where he wants to get. Sidebottom is there for the taking. Our bold-headed friend is there for the taking. Sidebottom, last season, he dropped off a little bit, but there was no one pushing for that selection, so he had to keep playing, right? Next season, it's going to be absolutely different. If Sidebottom's dropping off, if any of them are dropping off, these kids, if they're ready to go, are taking their spots and hitting it hard. So DeMattia is going to be an interesting one to watch in the next couple of years, but especially next season, because if he's having a good season, I dare say we see him debut, because he would have been one of those 9 players that debuted last season when we had that slew of injuries. But form and injuries, it kept him out of the side. But I am liking what I'm seeing from him. He's such a good kid. He stays up to the end of training. I know this doesn't help his senior selection, but he stays at the end of training, taking photos with people, signing autographs and stuff. I just love the way he goes about it. So these 2 re-signings are absolutely incredible. Because like I said, 2026, 2027 is where they're going to be making their money and getting a longer contract. But there is still so many more re-signings to go. And like I showed you that list before, a lot of big name players. So the list management team has got their work cut out for them. And that's not to say that we're not going to, at the end of 2025, there's going to be some nice free agents, and we'll do a tier list a little bit later that we could go for. Like, will LDU say a Kangaroos? Look, probably. Would he make a welcome addition at Collingwood? Yeah. He'd make a welcome addition at 17 other clubs as well. I made a video a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a couple of months ago now, about Matt Rowell and possibly, there's talks that we sort of are going after him. That would be sick. Can we trade for him? It's all these things, and the list management team have been doing their due diligence for ages. These re-signings, though, are going to be the most important thing to our future. And I think we're off to a great start with Harvey Harrison and Harry DeMattia extending until 2027. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I've got to go. This is a couch. I've got to go unbox this couch. A couch in a box. Can you believe it? I've got a mattress in a box. I've got a couch in a box. Oh my God. I've got to call Schrodinger. I've got a cat in a box as well. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.